Hi everyone, good morning. It's Rachel here at Ditch the Diet. Happy Monday morning. I hope you have had a fantastic weekend. Today I am going to be starting the first of our final No Diet December live broadcasts on Facebook, Instagram TV and on the podcast. And this week is going to be a little bit different from the past couple of weeks. So we are now in the week before Christmas. I can now officially say that and you can't shout at me. And we are, and this week I am planning on giving you some tips on how to survive the festive season and still feel good about yourself and still feel healthy and not feel any sense of guilt or regret or anything like that, unless of course you have something to feel guilty about. But like I said a few weeks ago, that is not food. We are not feeling guilty about food. Quite hoarse this morning. Flying visit to Scotland over the weekend, which was nice. Spent Thursday and Friday in Glasgow with my mum. And then spent Saturday and most of yesterday morning with my sister and my two little nieces in Haddington in East Lothian, which is about half an hour east of Edinburgh. It's right on the coast, right at the beach, and we were really lucky. We had some lovely weather yesterday, so we went out shopping, me and my sister and my two little nieces. We went out and we finished our Christmas shopping in somewhere near where my sister lives. I don't actually know even what it's called, but we had a lovely time. I hope you've had a really nice weekend, whatever you've been up to. So today I wanted to talk to you about, now I deliberated over the title of this video / podcast episode for quite a while, and I wanted to call it what I've called it, and then I thought, I don't know, maybe that is a bit too harsh. But this week I'm probably going to be a bit harsh with you and quite straight down the line. But that's kind of what I'm known for, and it's been a while since I've really been like that. So this morning I'm going to give you 3 tips to help you stop eating for the sake of it over the next few weeks. Right, and this is kind of prompted actually, and I haven't told my sister this, but this was prompted by something that I saw in my sister's kitchen, and I thought, that's actually prompted me to do something that I wouldn't normally do, but just bear with me, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But starting from this week, probably, because we'll be wrapping up, we'll be finishing for the Christmas holidays on Friday. If you're a teacher specifically, you will have a couple of weeks off work. Maybe you're working right up to Christmas Eve if you're not in a teaching job. But for me, I am working on Monday next week, and then that's it. So I've got a week left. Kids are finishing school at the end of this week, if they haven't already. I know some of them have broken up already, actually, I believe. But it's kind of getting to the point now where you might just be eating for the sake of it and then not feeling too good about yourself. Now, I know 2 weeks ago we spoke about not feeling guilty about what you're eating, right? So this is slightly different in that we're looking after our health, and we want to avoid that feeling of overeating and that feeling of, oh God, and eating for the sake of it. And then things become like, if you constantly eat the same thing for the sake of it because it's there, it kind of loses its excitingness. Is that even a word? So it doesn't become something that you just eat once in a while and you sort of really enjoy it and savour it because you're only having it once in a while. It becomes something that that's not, it's not a once in a while thing anymore, and it loses its excitement, right? So let me give my usual example of eating mince pies. Right, I love mince pies. I'll always try and wait to December, even though they're like in the shops from October. But if I had one every single day, then in the lead up to Christmas, then it would lose its excitement for me, and I'd be like, another mince pie, blah. So I try not to eat them that much. So I'm going to get straight on because I need to be somewhere for 9 o'clock, and it's quite far away. So I'm going to start with number 1. So number 1 is the one that was reminded me by being in my sister's kitchen. So on Saturday and Sunday I spent the weekend at my sister's house, and in her kitchen on the windowsill was a massive box of Clementines, like huge. It was a big box, and I must have eaten about 3 or 4 of them while I was there, maybe more actually, because they were just there. Because they were there, they were in sight, and I spent a lot of time in the kitchen. And every time I looked at them, I thought, oh, could I go one of those oranges? And, you know, Clementines are really nice at this time of year. But if that had been a box of Celebrations, or a box of Heroes, or Rosies, or Quality Street, or whatever, After Eights, you know, all these yummy things that are about at Christmas time, I would probably have had the same reaction. So I would probably have been like, oh, I'll just have one when I'm passing by. Oh, I'll just have another one. And I'm one of these weirdos that likes the bounties, so it would probably be the bounties. Don't judge me. If anyone's got any bounties left in their box that they want rid of, send them my way. I will take care of them for you. And I thought, it got me thinking, oh, this is something that we teach in Ditch the Diet in one of our courses, and it's about how your environment is set up, and especially at this time of year, if it's there and it's in your it's sitting there, or whatever it is that you want to keep as being a once in a while, I hate using the word treat, I don't like using the word treat, but a once in a while food, so that you can still look forward to it, then it needs to be out of sight and out of mind, so that you actually have to physically go and search for it and look for it, because if it's there, then you will eat it. And at this time of year, there's always stuff there. So just like in my sister's kitchen over the weekend, there was a big box of Clementines out in the kitchen, and it made me eat. You know, it made me eat them. If they had been in the fridge, I probably wouldn't have even seen them, and I wouldn't have eaten them. And we all know that they are quite a healthy food, full of nutrients, especially at this time of year, vitamin C, these kinds of things. So it's a good idea. So here is the sort of conclusion from that tip is things that you want to eat more of, keep them in your viewpoint where you are. Make it easy, make it accessible, make it obvious. So maybe healthy snacks, things like that, especially when the kids are off school and you want them, you know they're going to be snacking on a bit of chocolate, a bit of junk food over the Christmas holidays. But especially if you want them to eat a bit better, keep things that you want to eat, so healthy snacks, things like that, in viewpoint where you are. Make it obvious, make it easy. And the opposite for things that you maybe don't want to just eat for the sake of it, so whatever that might be, make it out of sight, so make it difficult to get to them. Make it what's the opposite of obvious? Answers on a postcard. Whatever the opposite of obvious is, make it the opposite of obvious and out of sight, so that you're not seeing it. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, when you are off over Christmas and New Year, your routine just goes out the window. So what I would suggest that you do is, and I've written it down here, my number 2, is keep your morning routine the same. So yeah, have a bit of a longer lie-in if you want, but keep your morning routine similar to what it would be normally, and that starts with having a good breakfast, because if you have a good breakfast, you're less likely to snack on crap that's no longer obvious, the opposite of obvious, whatever that is, and you're more likely to eat well throughout the day. So number 2, keep your morning routine similar and eat a good breakfast. Cool with that? Give me a thumbs up if you are cool with that. And number 3 is something that I teach my clients, private clients and members of Ditch the Diet every single year, and have done for years, is just because it's Christmas and New Year and you're focusing on the food that you're eating for one day, Christmas Day, maybe New Year's Day, you need to make sure that you've planned your meals roughly for the other days as well. Don't forget that you have to eat on all the other days of the week too. So the easy way to do that is to do what you normally do. Plan your meals just like you normally would, and make sure that you've got foods in that you normally would have for breakfast, lunch and dinner, so that you're not rushing about like an idiot picking stuff up at the last minute. And I would say that at any time of the year, it's not just this time of the year, but it does certainly help at this time of the year when you're out of your routine. So let me recap. Number 1, make snacks and foods that you want to eat more of over this period of time obvious, easy to access, and in a place where you're there a lot of the time. The foods that you don't want to eat all of the time, that you want to minimise so that you're not eating them for the sake of it. Out of sight, out of mind, make them the opposite of obvious so that they're not easy to get to. Number 2, have a good breakfast and try and stick to your same morning routine as usual as much as you can. And number 3, make sure you plan and shop for all of the other meals that you need to eat that are not Christmas Day or New Year's Day meals, because you're going to have food in so that you're not eating things for the sake of it. How's that sound? I hope that has been useful for you today. If you've enjoyed listening, please share the video. I really appreciate it. Every single person that watches, likes, comments, shares. If you're on the podcast and you're listening to this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. And also, as a reminder, we do have our introduction to Ditch the Diet. So if you want to know more about Ditch the Diet, then we have a course starting on Monday the 6th of January, and it lasts for 5 days, and you can come and join that course and find out what Ditch the Diet is all about. There is a waiting list, and the link to that is either in the description of the video if you're watching on Facebook. You can swipe up on stories on Instagram TV or Instagram if you're watching on Instagram, and if you're listening on the podcast, you can scroll down and just click on the link there. Make sure that your name is on the waiting list, because I am sending out information to the waiting list this afternoon, so you've got to be on that list to find out more about Ditch the Diet. Right, I better go. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow morning with another tip for you to help you survive the festive season in one piece. Have a good day.